right now on 5 on Your Side at 10.
Gunshots ring out in downtown St. Louis. A man found dead in Keener Plaza. Tonight, what we're learning about the victim.
The weekend's almost here, and there are some weather changes happening, but it's not bad news for your weekend plans.
First tonight, strong words from a judge to Kim Gardner.
The Circuit Attorney's Office appears to be a rudderless ship of chaos.
Tonight, the judge's move that has St. Louis's top prosecutor back on the defense. Good evening, I'm Mike Bush. Ann Allred has the night off. The judge moved to hold Gardner and one of her deputies in indirect criminal contempt. This happened during the second hearing for the Circuit Attorney's Office this week after they failed to show up to two separate trials. We have live team coverage tonight. Brent Solomon has reaction from Gardner supporters. But first, Laura Barczewski breaks down what happened in court today and what's next for the embattled St. Louis Circuit Attorney. Laura.
Mike, the judge had some very powerful words in his decision today against Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner, and trial attorneys say this is really unprecedented, and we really don't know how this is all going to work.
The Circuit Attorney's Office appears to be a rudderless ship of chaos.
St. Louis Judge Michael Noble says he found enough evidence to support a case of indirect criminal contempt against Circuit Attorney Kim Gardner and her Assistant Circuit Attorney Chris Desilets. Gardner did not come to the hearing.
It appears that Ms. Gardner has complete indifference and a conscious disregard for the judicial process.
The case in question that they did not show up to court for focuses on a 2020 shooting where an 11-year-old girl was injured by a stray bullet. Desilets was assigned to the case and did not show up to court twice.
Mr. Desilets has approximately 104 felony cases. Any prudent practitioner would expect such a caseload to create countless irreconcilable conflicts. It does not appear she has made any reasonable efforts to prevent the resulting chaos.
The suspect's mother says they've been waiting roughly 3 years to have their day in court. She says he is innocent and has 2 kids he's been struggling to support because he's on house arrest.
We keep coming to court and the prosecutor attorney is not here.
She says she doesn't have any faith in Kim Gardner or her office.
Some people I talk to say she shouldn't resign, but you're not doing your job. I worked at Pop Pop for 14 years. If I didn't come in that door when I'm supposed to come, they're going to terminate me. They're going to lock me up. Not lock me up, just get me fired. So do your job.
5 on Your Side trial analyst Anders Walker says if Gardner and Desilets are held indirect criminal contempt, he's not sure there will be any real consequences.
Even if they go to trial, there's not a jury in St. Louis that's going to convict Kim Gardner of anything. And there's not a judge who's going to sentence her, at least not to jail. So I think it's all a show.
Walker says whatever happens, this might even make her more popular.
It is a political game, and she's winning.
There's going to have to be a special prosecutor appointed to handle this case before the next date in court, which is May 30th. Walker says it's still unclear who this will be or how they'll be appointed. Reporting live from downtown, Laura Barczewski, 5 on Your Side.
And those who want to see Kim Gardner remain in office are vowing to fight. New tonight, Brent Solomon continues our team coverage. He's live downtown with their reaction to today's decision from the judge.
Well, Mike, the message that's ringing loud and clear tonight from those who are standing by Gardner's side is that this is their prosecutor. They elected her, and they don't want anyone to mess with their vote.
Ain't nowhere in the world Kimberly Gardner could be held in contempt and go to jail for somebody else not showing up in court.
Standing outside of the Missouri Attorney General's office Thursday, some of the circuit attorney's devout supporters stood their ground.
Hands off Kim Gardner! Hands off Kim Gardner!
They call the effort to remove her from office and the latest decision from a St. Louis judge who moved to hold her in indirect criminal contempt of court because she nor her staff showed up to 2 separate trials, a political move to see her fail. One supporter even making a comparison to a previous long-term St. Louis prosecutor.
If Jennifer Joyce was in office, and there's no way that those clerks wouldn't have been told to call the circuit attorney's office to get somebody in court because we got trial this morning. They didn't weaponize the court system against Kimberly Gardner. It's plain and simple, and as simple as that.
It comes as a hearing will happen in September to oust Gardner, spearheaded by Attorney General Andrew Bailey, who says Gardner isn't prosecuting cases and is creating a toxic work environment, driving out staff. Right now, her office has 2 prosecutors to handle 470 cases.
But we also know that in certain school districts, there's a shortage of teachers. Right. To the point where they have to go to 4 days of schooling rather than a traditional 5. We know that there's a shortage of policemen in this city.
For 3 years, this country and the world was paralyzed by COVID-19. There is no courthouse anywhere in this country that doesn't have a backlog of cases that they're trying to clear up.
This weekend, Gardner will hold another public town hall forum to address her supporters. And then next week, they're taking what they call a social justice caravan to Jefferson City to send their message straight to the Capitol. That information is posted for you on KSDK.com. Mike.
Brent, thanks. Tonight, leaders in surrounding counties believe they have a solution to the troubles facing the St. Louis Circuit Attorney's Office. County executives in St. Charles, Jefferson, and Franklin counties issued a letter today supporting a consolidation with the St. Louis County Prosecutor's Office. Just days ago, the mayors of Bridgeton, Wildwood, Manchester, and Brentwood asked the state legislature to pass a regional crime legislation to combine the offices. In a joint statement, the county executives say, quote, "While this is outside our jurisdiction, it is a regional issue that affects us all. We will always do whatever we can to help other elected officials in the region, just as we would hope they would help us if we needed it." Developing tonight, St. Louis police continue to investigate a deadly shooting in the heart of downtown this afternoon. A man was found shot at 7th and Market at the southwest corner of Keener Plaza. Our Robert Townsend joins us now live with the latest on the investigation. Robert.
Mike, it's been almost 7 hours since the shooting here at Keener Plaza. Tonight, police are still looking for the man who shot and killed a young skateboarder. The park at Keener Plaza is typically a peaceful place for many to enjoy. That was the case Thursday until around 3:30 this afternoon.
I was just on my way home.
Suddenly, loud, rapid gunfire stopped Panda Jones and others in their tracks.
I've been working here 10 years, never seen anything like this before.
It was startling, scary.
Police say 2 men first argued, then at least 15 gunshots rang out. It happened right before Jones's eyes.
The shooter chased the victim from inside the park and shot him.
Jones told police the mid-afternoon gun violence at the popular downtown plaza continued.
The first time, it looked like he missed. The second time, he got him, he fell down. The third time, he stood over him and shot him.
Police say the shooter ran off. Investigators say the victim, a regular skateboarder at Keener Plaza, died outside the park near 7th and Market Street, just blocks away from our 5 on Your Side building.
I'm sorry that it happened to.
And across the street from Spire Gas Company, where a stunned Tiffany Jew works.
Security people just came and evacuated the building and asked us to all leave together.
We don't know anything about the suspect at this time, but we're thinking it's a targeted attack since they engaged in a verbal altercation. Prior to that, the victim was alone, just sitting on the bench.
This is the 45th homicide in the city so far this year.
I don't think the city can't get a control of the crime problem.
I pray for our city.
And detectives are now reviewing surveillance video from traffic lights and several nearby businesses, hoping it will lead them to that shooter. We'll stay on top of it. Live downtown, I'm Robert Townsend. 5 on Your Side.
Tonight, we're learning more about a suspected international jewelry theft ring that ended with 4 arrests in St. Charles. The suspects are believed to be part of a larger organized crime group of Romanian nationals accused of snatching millions of dollars of jewels all over the country. Investigators in Florida have been trying to track down this group for about a year. A cell phone ping led them to St. Charles.
Patrol officer located a minivan with Florida license plates, and also there was a second minivan with North Carolina temporary tags sitting in front of an Airbnb on North 2nd Street. Completely our belief that they would have targeted other businesses and stores in our area had we not been able to apprehend them so quick.
We're told the FBI, the Secret Service, Homeland Security, and other federal agencies have been involved in investigating this group. Tonight, Missouri Governor Mike Parson is promising to call a special session if state lawmakers do not pass two bills concerning transgender youth. One would bar transgender athletes from playing on youth sports teams different from their biological sex. The other bans gender-affirming care for minors. There are 2 weeks remaining in the legislative session. New information tonight in a legal battle over Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey's emergency rule to block all transgender care for minors and adults in the state. A judge issued a stay yesterday. In new court filings today, Bailey calls it a, quote, growing emergency. He argues government intervention is needed because of what he calls a sharp uptick in the number of people receiving puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones that are not FDA approved. Transgender advocates criticize the restrictions and say the FDA should approve the treatments.
That would certainly make this easier, because the medical consensus clearly affirms it. Medical associations clearly affirm it. If the stickler is that the FDA hasn't approved it, they certainly should.
A judge gave Bailey's office until Monday night to file arguments before deciding on whether or not to block his emergency rule. An uplifting update tonight on the Tennessee teen who lost both her legs in a crash while visiting downtown St. Louis back in February. Janae Edmondson has signed on with Middle Tennessee State University to serve as a volleyball manager. But her dad says Janae will work with trainers who work with amputees with hopes of playing volleyball again. Before the crash, the high school senior planned to attend the University of Tennessee Southern on a scholarship. The school said it would honor that scholarship. Pothole problems.
Huge hole right there, huge hole right there.
You helped us identify the area's worst roads. Tonight, the I-Team is getting answers on what's being done to fix them. Meet me at the fair. The big changes to this year's 4th of July celebration in St. Louis.
By the 4th of July, the average high temperature in St. Louis, 89 degrees. Doesn't look like we're trending in that direction anytime soon. What you do need to know as you make your weekend plans.
Drive on local streets and you'll likely notice it. Potholes. They develop during the hot and cold temperature swings. But when our I-Team wanted you to weigh in on the biggest problem areas, your responses were more than we ever expected. Tonight, our Paula Vassan looks at the biggest problem areas, which turned out to be more than just crumbling concrete.
For Brandon Reed,
This is outrageous.
driving to work in downtown St. Louis
But here's another one.
is an obstacle course.
It's beyond frustrating because I can't afford it.
A mission to avoid potholes that have cost him over $600 in the last 2 months.
You can kind of see the damage that's done just to that rim. Nobody can continuously afford to keep putting tires on every other week.
Do you take a longer commute now to work just to avoid these potholes?
Absolutely, yeah. I would say about 15 minutes.
St. Louis City Mayor Tashara Jones told us in a recent interview.
Potholes are being filled, and city services are being completed.
Huge hole right there, huge hole right there.
Reed didn't see that happening, so he posted about his driving drama on Facebook and tagged the mayor.
The next day I woke up, she unfriended me on Facebook. You know, this is a problem.
So we delved into the issue with a survey. We asked our viewers about the worst roads in the St. Louis area. In 1 week, we got more than 1,200 responses about some major headaches. Potholes are by far the biggest complaints, totaling 90% of all responses. More than half also complain of speeding on our city and county roads, and especially our highways. The next biggest issues are disobeying traffic signals, congestion, narrow lanes, unsafe pedestrian crossings, and confusing designs. Take Airport Road in Berkeley. Ebony Bond complains, the potholes messed up my shocks. Larry Slaughter writes, horrible. And Layla Bragg writes, the roadway is full of potholes. Describing Interstate 270 near West County Mall, one viewer writes, I hit a pothole, had 2 flat tires, and needed a tow and realignment.
I called it the $1,000 pothole. And we have lots of complaints about Big Bend Road in Kirkwood, about everything from crumbling pavement to speeding. Diane Carson writes, pedestrians and drivers are at serious risk. Another frustrated driver writes, very unsafe, especially for kids trying to cross to a nearby elementary school. Our survey also shows speeding is a big problem on both our highways and roads. About Grand Boulevard in St. Louis City, one viewer writes, illegal street racing in the summer is an issue.
What are you doing to fix our roads?
Is a question we wanted to ask city and county officials. They didn't agree to an in-person interview about our survey. We talked with Tom Blair with the Missouri Department of Transportation.
So 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, we have team members out taking care of and operating the system.
His department tracks the most heavily trafficked roads in our area, mainly our highways.
In general, 85% of our major roads are in good condition in the state of Missouri.
How are you prioritizing what roads get fixed when?
We are always inspecting our roads. Priorities can be established by citizens when they call us.
A huge hole right there.
Reed says he's doing his part as a citizen. He wants our government to step it up too.
The expectation, me as a taxpayer, is that these roads will be taken care of. That's not happening, so where's all my money going?
We've shared the results of our survey without personal information with the city, county, and state. The goal, to help inform and prioritize their fixes. Thank you to the more than 1,200 of you who contributed. This is also a topic we'll continue investigating. If you have a tip, email me directly at paula@ksdk.com. For the I-Team, Paula Vasan, 5 on your side.
And for additional information on how to get in touch with the city, county, and state to highlight road issues you're seeing, head to ksdk.com. Big news tonight about Fair St. Louis. The annual 3-day celebration surrounding the 4th of July is being scaled back to just 1 day this year. Today, organizers said the fireworks spectacular against the backdrop of the Gateway Arch will take place Tuesday, July 4th. The 140th America's Birthday Parade will take place earlier in the day. Organizers say they're focusing on a reimagined citywide celebration for 2024. Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell joined us now with the weather first forecast, and the weekend is looking nice, Scott.
Yeah, it's improved. The rain chances, they're still low. They're not completely zero, but most of the weekend's going to be on the dry side. Similar to what we saw around the metro area today. This is looking down in Arnold. All day long, you saw those clouds rolling in. We finally got a few raindrops in Arnold late this afternoon into the early evening hours. That happened over much of the metro area. Lambert this evening picking up 0.4 of an inch of rain. But areas farther south, Farmington, Sparta, you were stuck in the 50s today. We made it to 67 in St. Louis. So the metro area a little warmer because of the lack of showers across most of the metro for most of the day. Those cooler temperatures were stuck down in southern Missouri, southern portions of Illinois. The main area moving off. There's still a couple of sprinkles north and west of St. Louis, and we're not too concerned about those showers and rumbles out there across parts of Nebraska and Kansas. As they're dropping to the southeast, they're tending to fizzle a little bit, but we will have another front coming through on Saturday and reinforce the cool air heading into Sunday. Right now, 58 degrees in St. Louis. The dew point's up to 51. Why is that the difference? That's what kept us from getting the rain. The dew points were around 40 degrees this afternoon, and so there was a big spread. So a lot of dry air for those raindrops to overcome out of the clouds to get to the ground. 40s to around 50 for your overnight low temperatures. Lots of clouds. Still a few scattered showers possible, mainly spritzes, not much rain out of them. Early tomorrow morning, most of it south and east of St. Louis. And the trend will be on your Friday to see skies brighten a bit. By lunchtime, mid-60s to around 70 degrees for early afternoon. Heading into tomorrow evening, it sure does look nice around the St. Louis area with partly cloudy skies. Don't think we're going to get rain tomorrow. Saturday, the chances are pretty low as well. Here comes your front sliding in from the west. This initial front doesn't have a lot of cold air behind it, So we'll wait for the reinforcing cold front to slide on in. But there might be a brief shower early on Saturday, and then with that approaching front as we head into the overnight hours Saturday and into Sunday, that will deliver some chilly air. But it looks like it stays dry for the City SC match. That's at City Park. They'll take the pitch at 7:30 with a temperature around 65 degrees and gusty winds. Speaking of gusty winds, we're stuck with them on Sunday. It will be cool too. Temperatures in the upper 50s to lower 60s. Can't completely rule out an isolated shower, but again, the chances for that on Sunday are pretty doggone slim. Most of us are going to miss most of the rain this weekend. Temperatures drop off Sunday into Monday, and then by the middle and end of next week, we're back into the 70s. Towards Thursday night and Friday, and maybe again Saturday night and Sunday, the potential for a few showers and thunderstorms, but that would have no impact on the expected rising Mississippi River next week.
All right, Scott, thanks. Sports is next with Frank.
Mike, everything is good. The Cardinals, Jason Tatum, Matthew Tkachuk, and an Illinois football player went in the first round. Stick around, please.
The Sports Desk is sponsored by Jim Butler Chevrolet, the Midwest's #1 Chevy dealer 10 years running.
The law of averages kicked in San Francisco today. Let's face it, this Cardinal team is too good to be losing the amount of games they've lost this season. It's only one game, but then again, it's just 1 month, meaning the Cardinals can come back and play well the final 5 months. You never know what can happen. Let's go to San Francisco, pick up the highlights. Miles Michaelis had the shovel, did the digging early. We're talking 6 1/3 scoreless and 6 Ks. Defense, will you look at this bit of brilliance by Andrew Kisner to get the runner at home with the bases loaded? He was once an infielder at North Carolina State. Offense, first it was Alec Burleson who smoked this one to McCovey Cove. And then Paul DeJong will stay smoking hot with a 2-run blast. He's hitting .471, and the Cardinals win it 6-0.
Another reason why I came to Chaminade because of great people and great fans like Graham Niemeyer, Jack Sponer.
I love basketball.
Novelli, and Matthew Tkachuk. Great guys.
So you know this, Jason Tatum and Matthew Tkachuk were in the same class at Chaminade High School for 4 years, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. And now here they are at the top of their professions. Jason should finish in the top 5 in the MVP balloting in the NBA, and Matthew could do the same in the NHL. Celtics and Hawks in a Game 6 in Atlanta tonight, a 3-point game with less than 3 minutes to play, and Tatum will hit a dagger 3 for Boston. There's the high skill level. Now, how about some athleticism? Watch Al Horford miss it, and Jason will rise and ram it home. He had 30. Boston wins the series 4-2, and the game 128-120. Tkachuk had himself a moment last night against the Bruins in overtime. How about this? An overtime goal, something his dad never did in the postseason. And he had quite a few moments this season, too. 40 goals and 109 points. Not bad for the 25-year-old from Chaminade.
I mean, we're supposed to get swept this series, right? Everyone's saying. So I don't think anybody really gave us a chance after losing 2 games in a row.
That guy is, and then you put a long string of profanity, gamer. Is he not a gamer?
Things happen fast in playoffs, and now they got to come down to Florida for another one.
The NFL draft tonight in Kansas City, and first up, the Carolina Panthers. They picked the 2021 Heisman Trophy winner, Bryce Young from Alabama, who stands just 5'10" and weighs 204 pounds. Picking second, the Houston Texans went with Ohio State quarterback C.J. Stroud. A little bigger at 6'3", and he threw 85 touchdowns in Columbus. And how about this? At number 5, the Seahawks took Illinois corner Devin Witherspoon, who did not allow a touchdown pass all season. Out of high school, he had 0 stars, and now the 5th pick in the draft. We have a new highest paid player in NFL history, and his name is Lamar Jackson. The Ravens have given the former MVP $260 million over 5 years, $185 million guaranteed, $5 million more than Jalen Hurts, and no agent fee. He represented himself.
This 5 on Your Side St. Louis City SC coverage is sponsored by Together Credit Union.
City SC will play their 3rd game in 7 days on Saturday as Portland comes to town, fresh off a win to open up the U.S. Open Cup City is feeling good and confident that they have the depth for busy weeks like this one.
In this Open Cup, for example, everybody was 100% there. The mentality was good, and that's going to be very important in the future as well. Because when you have these games, it's tough to play 3 times with the same lineup.
And that will do it in sports.
All right, Frank, thanks. A true Cinderella story. The rescue pup from Missouri named the Belle of the Bulldogs. Drake University in Iowa has a new live mascot, and she's a rescue pup from Missouri. Patch beat out 29 other English Bulldogs at the annual Beautiful Bulldog competition. The contest kicks off the Drake Relays, an annual track and field competition. And tonight, some high school students are in hot water after a senior prank gone wrong. Students at a Chicago area high school bought a cow to bring to school, but it got away and ran into a nearby neighborhood. After several hours, police, with the help of a farmer, were finally able to corral the steer. No one was hurt, but the students were cited by police. The cow was taken to an animal rescue. And there you have it, 5 on your side at 10. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon is next, and Drew Barrymore is Jimmy's guest. Start your day with Today in St. Louis beginning at 4 a.m. Have a great tomorrow.